There are certain truths about life that nobody wants to hear. They're uncomfortable, sometimes painful, and often completely different from what we were taught to believe. We are told that if we work hard, everything will eventually work out, that good people always get rewarded, that everyone will understand our intentions, that we have unlimited time to become who we want to be. But reality doesn't make those promises. Life doesn't always reward effort immediately. People don't always treat you fairly, and time doesn't wait for you to finally become ready. The ancient Stoics understood this better than most. They didn't build their philosophy around pretending life was easy. They built it around accepting reality exactly as it is, then becoming strong enough to deal with it. Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus repeatedly reminded themselves that suffering often comes not from reality itself, but from our refusal to accept reality. And once you stop fighting what cannot be changed, you can finally focus your energy on what can. Today, we're going through 7 harsh truths about reality that most people spend their entire lives avoiding. These truths aren't meant to make you pessimistic, they're meant to make you awake, because sometimes the truth that hurts you the most is the same truth that can set you free. Truth number 1. Nobody is coming to save you. One of the hardest truths to accept is that your life is ultimately your responsibility. There may be people who love you, there may be friends who support you, family members who encourage you, mentors who guide you, and people who genuinely want to see you succeed. But nobody can live your life for you. Nobody can make your decisions for you. Nobody can build your discipline for you. And nobody can guarantee that your future will turn out the way you want. You can spend years waiting for someone to appear and change your circumstances. You might wait for the perfect mentor, the perfect opportunity, the perfect relationship, or the perfect moment. But waiting can become an excuse disguised as hope. The Stoics understood personal responsibility deeply. Epictetus taught that some things are within our control and others are not. Your circumstances may not be entirely under your control, but your response to them is. You may not control where you started, what happened to you, or what other people choose to do, but you can control what you do next. This doesn't mean you have to do everything alone. Asking for help is strength, not weakness. But there is a difference between accepting help and expecting someone else to take responsibility for your entire life. At some point, you have to stop asking, "Why isn't someone helping me?" and start asking, "What can I do with what I have?" That question changes everything, because when you stop waiting to be rescued, you begin looking for solutions. When you stop blaming everyone else, you begin looking for opportunities. And when you accept responsibility, you finally realize that you have more power than you thought. Truth number 2. People think about you far less than you imagine. You probably spend more time worrying about what other people think about you than they actually spend thinking about you. You worry about how you look. You worry about what someone will say. You replay conversations in your head. You wonder whether someone noticed your mistake. You hesitate to try something new because you're afraid of being judged. But here's the uncomfortable reality. Most people are too busy thinking about themselves. They are worrying about their own problems, their own appearance, their own relationships, their own finances, and their own future. The embarrassing moment you have been replaying for 3 days may not even exist in someone else's memory anymore. Yet fear of judgment keeps millions of people trapped. They don't start the business. They don't post the video. They don't approach the person they like. They don't change careers. They don't move somewhere new. They don't pursue the dream they've had for years. Why? Because they're afraid of what people might think. The Stoics would tell you to separate your character from other people's opinions. You cannot control someone's judgment of you. Therefore, allowing their judgment to control your behavior gives them power over your life. People will criticize you whether you succeed or fail. If you do nothing, someone may call you lazy. If you try, someone may call you unrealistic. If you succeed, someone may call you lucky. If you fail, someone may tell you they knew you would fail. So stop trying to build a life that looks impressive to everyone else. Build one that you can respect when nobody is watching. Truth number 3. Time is not waiting for you. This may be the most brutal truth of all. You don't have unlimited time. Every day that passes is a day you will never experience again. You can make more money. You can replace possessions. You can meet new people. You can recover from many mistakes, but you cannot recover yesterday. Seneca famously wrote about how people treat time as though it were an unlimited resource while protecting their money and possessions carefully. We understand the value of money because we can see it disappearing from our bank accounts. But time disappears silently. 1 hour becomes a day becomes a month becomes a year. And suddenly you realize that the future you kept talking about has become the past. This is why living on autopilot is so dangerous. If every day is spent scrolling, complaining, procrastinating, consuming entertainment and waiting for tomorrow, eventually you may wake up with years behind you and very little to show for them. The answer isn't to become obsessed with productivity every second of the day. Rest matters. Enjoyment matters. Relationships matter. The point is to become conscious of where your life is actually going. Ask yourself, if I continue living exactly the way I am living now, where will I be 5 years from today? Your habits are quietly answering that question for you. If you don't like the answer, change the habits, because someday I don't have time will become I wish I had more time. And by then, you may not be able to do anything about it. Truth number 4. Hard work does not guarantee success. We like to believe that life is a simple equation. Work hard and you will succeed. Be good and good things will happen. Try your best and you will win. Unfortunately, reality is more complicated. Hard work matters enormously, but hard work alone doesn't guarantee the outcome you want. Timing matters. Opportunity matters. Skill matters. Decisions matter. Luck matters. Circumstances matter. 2 people can work equally hard and receive completely different results. This doesn't mean you should stop working hard. It means you should stop believing that effort automatically entitles you to a specific outcome. The Stoics understood this distinction. Your responsibility is to give your best effort, not to control the final result. You can prepare perfectly and still lose. You can make the right decision and still experience a bad outcome. You can treat someone with kindness and still be betrayed. You can build something for years and watch it fail. That's reality. And accepting this actually makes you stronger, because once you stop demanding that life reward you exactly as you expect, failure becomes easier to survive. You can say, I gave everything I could. The result wasn't what I wanted. Now what can I learn? That's resilience. The goal isn't to guarantee victory. The goal is to become someone who can continue moving forward even when victory isn't guaranteed. Truth number 5. Some people will never understand you. One of the most frustrating experiences in life is being misunderstood. You explain yourself. You clarify your intentions. You tell someone why you made a decision, and they still don't understand. Sometimes they don't want to understand. You can spend enormous amounts of energy trying to convince people that you're a good person, that your intentions were right, or that your decisions make sense. But here's the harsh truth. You cannot control another person's interpretation of you. People see life through their own experiences, fears, insecurities, and beliefs. Sometimes someone isn't reacting to who you actually are. They're reacting to who they believe you are. And no amount of explanation can always change that. This is why the Stoics emphasize controlling your own character rather than your reputation. Your reputation exists in other people's minds. Your character exists in your actions. You don't need everyone to understand you. You need to know whether you are acting according to your principles. If you've been honest, responsible, disciplined, and fair, then let people form whatever opinions they want. You don't have to attend every argument you're invited to. You don't have to defend yourself against every accusation, and you don't have to prove your worth to people who have already decided not to see it. Sometimes peace begins when you stop explaining yourself. Truth number 6. Comfort can quietly destroy your potential. Comfort feels safe. That's exactly why it's dangerous. When life becomes comfortable, there is very little pressure forcing you to change. You wake up, follow the same routine, consume the same content, talk to the same people, and repeat the same behaviors. Nothing is necessarily wrong, but nothing is really growing either. The problem with comfort is that it doesn't feel like a trap. A prison with walls is obvious. A prison made of convenience is much harder to recognize. You tell yourself you're resting. Then you keep resting. You tell yourself you'll start tomorrow. Then tomorrow becomes next week. Eventually, you become so comfortable with your current life that changing it feels more frightening than staying unhappy. The Stoics deliberately practiced discomfort because they understood that strength comes from being able to function without constant comfort. You don't need to make your life miserable, but occasionally choose the difficult path. Exercise when you don't feel like exercising. Learn something you're bad at. Have the difficult conversation. Wake up earlier, put the phone away, save instead of spending. Say no to something that distracts you. Do something that forces you to discover what you're capable of. Every time you voluntarily face discomfort, you prove something important to yourself. I can handle difficult things. That belief is worth more than temporary comfort. Truth number 7. You are going to die. This is the truth people avoid more than almost anything else. You are going to die. So am I. Everyone you've ever admired, everyone you've ever hated, everyone you've ever loved, and everyone you've ever seen will eventually disappear. The Stoics didn't obsess over death because they were fascinated by darkness. They remembered death because it made life more valuable. Marcus Aurelius repeatedly reminded himself of mortality, not to become depressed, but to become present. Think about how differently you would live if you genuinely understood that your time was limited. Would you spend so much energy trying to impress strangers? Would you continue a relationship that destroys your peace? Would you keep postponing your dreams? Would you spend hours arguing about meaningless things? Would you continue complaining about problems that won't matter 5 years from now? Death has a strange ability to put everything into perspective. It reminds you that your problems are temporary, your embarrassment is temporary, your failures are temporary, your possessions are temporary, even your reputation is temporary. So what matters? The way you lived, the people you loved, the courage you demonstrated, the choices you made when nobody was watching, the person you became. You don't need to become famous. You don't need to become rich. You don't need to create a perfect life, but you should make sure you're actually living the life you have, because one day there will be no more tomorrow. And the greatest tragedy isn't simply dying. It's reaching the end of your life and realizing you spent most of it afraid to live. These 7 truths may sound harsh, but they are not meant to destroy your hope. They're meant to remove illusions. Nobody is coming to save you, so take responsibility. People think about you less than you imagine, so stop living for their approval. Time isn't waiting for you, so use it carefully. Hard work doesn't guarantee success, so focus on what you can control. Some people will never understand you, so stop wasting your life trying to convince everyone. Comfort can destroy your potential, so deliberately challenge yourself. And one day you will die, so stop treating your life as though you have forever. The Stoics didn't teach people how to escape reality. They taught people how to face it without being destroyed by it. And maybe that's the real purpose of these harsh truths. Not to make you afraid of life, but to make you finally appreciate it. You don't control how long you have. You don't control what happens tomorrow. You don't control what other people think. But you do control what you do with this moment. So don't wait for your life to become perfect. Don't wait until you're fearless. Don't wait until everyone understands you. Start with what you have. Do what you can. Become stronger. Become wiser. And most importantly, stop wasting the life you're already living.